That's a good idea. Well, no problem. They're going to be distributed in Italy by Comitato no Guerra no NATO I'm a member of, and they're organizing with Global Research Canada, Michael Chossudowski, 70 years of NATO conference in Florence on April 7. So nothing is lost. I'm very grateful to Mr. Jovanovic to have invited me here, and it's with quite an emotion that I'm here, because 20 years ago, I was coming to this building during the bombing to collect my press pass. And so I remember very well what was going on. Outside there, right in front of the Opera House, thousands of young people and people were just listening to the music and singing and making an incredible energy with all the rock, groups playing, and it was really fantastic. Then at night, of course, all families were going to the shelters. The city was all lighted up, almost empty, and everybody, I think, was waiting for the siren to burst, because that was the sign that the bombing was starting. And of course, right after, you were just listening to the noise of the airplanes and to the sound of the bombing. And that was quite an emotion as well. At that time, I was living with a friend in Majke Jevrosime, I would say 70 meters away from the Belgrade TV station. And so what happened that night, it was quite a noise. And I'm still emotional when I go up the flight of stairs near the station and I see that stone reporting all the names of the young people who died, and then one question: why? And it's very hard to reply to such a why, but unfortunately, why was the fact that there was a plan to destroy Yugoslavia. And the plan was part of a project that was conceived in 1982 during the presidency of the Republican Ronald Reagan. It was a plan for a strategic American military presence throughout the world. And United States, of course, were inspired by a doctrine called Project for a New American Century that was conceived by a group of liberal intellectuals, now the new neocons. Well, I would like to read a few words about this doctrine, what they say, and then you'll probably understand what happened at that time and what's going to happen even now and in the future. The history of the 20th century should have taught us that it is important to shape the circumstances before crises emerge and address threats before they become tragic. The history of the century should have taught us to embrace the cause of American leadership, establish a strategic military presence throughout the world through a technological revolution in the military, discourage the emergency of any super competitive power, read China now and Russia, launch preventive attacks against any power that threatens American interests. And then again, there is something even more interesting, because we'll explain about many horrible staging that we faced in the last 20 years. The neocons wrote as well that all events, I'm sorry, the memory of the genocide perpetrated during the Second World War becomes almost an obsession. They believe, the neocons, that the United States must intervene wherever the symptoms that need to be prevented and suppressed are captured, apparently everywhere. So in 20 years, we often witnessed small genocide, real, fake, or staged, wherever USA wanted to intervene in the country. Now, I would like to quote a phrase from Diana Johnston's book, Hillary Clinton, the Queen of Chaos. At a certain point, she writes, the American empire is totally different from all the other precedent empires, because the other empires, when they were finishing, dying, they were at least leaving something good. Roads, aqueduct, law, something, culture. American empire just leaves destruction and chaos. But we know as well, because history teaches us, that empires come to an end. Thank you.